Hey, what's up, guys? It is Slick or Slick Muff here, back again with another video. And admittedly, I am being a little bit facetious with the title of this video, but I do not mean to downplay at all those of you who tweeted me links to this sort of thing and what the title of the video is about today. So I really, really appreciate all of that, and I just want to give my 2 cents on the topic of the video for today. But if you have been enjoying the daily uploads, of course, give this video a thumbs up. It helps so much with the videos to be seen by others who are not subscribers necessarily. I really, really appreciate everybody for liking the video. If you've been enjoying the daily uploads, I did not upload yesterday, but I uploaded 2 videos the day before that, so I'd like to consider myself even and good to upload for today. Later tonight, I'll be recording with Salvage more for the Batman Arkham Retrospective series, so I'm really excited for that. But anyway, into the topic of today's video. Okay, so basically the big headline coming out of the past few days is that Rocksteady has hired somebody who specializes in GaaS, which is Games as a Service. That is a fancy industry terminology for basically microtransactions. Okay, so Rocksteady hired somebody who seemingly their sole job is to optimize their future games or game for microtransactions to maximize games as a service revenue, to maximize microtransaction, revenue. And people were really concerned about this. I will admit to some degree, I will concede the point that it's alarming that they're hiring somebody as a GaaS specialist. In other words, their entire job, their only job, basically, is to talk or think about microtransactions and how to make the most money with microtransactions, that kind of thing. But here's what's not alarming, is that their next game, whatever it may be, Superman, Justice League, whatever, is going to have microtransactions. That's not alarming. That's just the industry trend. And by the way, it is not something that's new to Rocksteady's games. Batman Arkham City and Knight both extensively had microtransactions. Batman Arkham Asylum had them to a limited or lesser degree. The way things used to work in games is that additional skins, for instance, let's say you want to have the Batman Noel skin, okay? Normally, you would unlock said skin. You would work to unlock it. In the case of games today, you pay for them. So things that were previously unlockable, and the Batman Noel skin might actually be a really bad example because I think they gave that to us for free. But, whatever. Think of DLC skin in Arkham Knight, right? The fact of it is, most things that you normally would have earned, skins, would be like markers, right? Like if you get all the Riddler trophies, you get this or blah, 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 blah. There still is that. Don't get me wrong. The Arkham games had that. But the fact of it is, the video game industry as a whole is shifting more towards the paid model. You unlock things if you pay for it. If you give us extra money on top of the $60, you get this cool thing. You get this skin. You get this gold batarang instead of a regular one. Whatever, And Batman Arkham Knight had this, for sure. They had a $40 season pass, and if you bought all of the skins separately, it would be even more than $40. So that's a lot of microtransactions. If you bought every single bit of that, that's a good amount. I think that there's this idea that if whatever you're buying doesn't give you a competitive edge in the game, it's not a microtransaction, but it definitely is. It's just a minor purchase that you can have in game to change some aspect of your character in the game. In the case of Fortnite, Call of Duty, it's even more concerning. Not Fortnite as much. That's cosmetic, but like in Call of Duty in the past, there's been pay-to-win issues with variants, especially COD Advanced Warfare. But realistically, it's not that big of an issue for a game like Batman Arkham Knight, which is a single-player game. If you want to have a different skin, if you want to pay for it, whatever, it's okay. I understand it. Do I love the practice? Do I love the idea of microtransactions in games? No, I don't. Nobody does. The reason that they have them, though, is really not because of corporate greed. It's not because corporations want to make like a shit ton of more money. Really, what's happening is that video games are becoming more expensive to make. They take more time to make than ever before. The systems that they use take more, resources than ever before. More staff is working on these games than ever before. And the fact of it is, the price of games hasn't increased in a decade. They've been at $60. In fact, many games are actually becoming cheaper. Like, Rainbow Six Siege, I bought for $15. It did launch as a $60 game, but normally, Overwatch, for instance, that would normally have been a $60 game, but it was not for me. A lot of games like Fortnite have shifted to a free-to-play model, which was very, very rare in the past. Unheard of more than 10 years ago. Because if there is no purchase on the front end, then you don't have it. Now, of course, I'm not talking about PC games, but I mean like console games, Like Call of Duty Big Red 1, 2, or whatever was not a free-to-play game. You know what I mean? You just buy up front, you get your disc, and you bring it home, and you put it in your PS2, and you play. So things have changed substantially in the video game industry. Games have become more expensive since the PS2 days, but in the past decade, they've been at the $60 model. In reality, the price of games probably needs to increase, but who's going to be the first one to do it? Which game company is going to be the first one to bump up prices, Is Call of Duty going to be the first one to raise it to $80? Well, then guess what? Battlefield and every other FPS is going to keep it at 60, and COD's going to get crushed. So it's kind of this like standoff where nobody can really increase prices. All you can do is have microtransactions. And people have stood unanimously against microtransactions. Battlefront 2, which is a game I really wanted to play and really wanted to get, I abstained from simply on the grounds of microtransactions. The game was horribly ridden with them, and I decided not to get the game. Not an easy thing for me to do, because like I said, I really wanted to play the game. But I tried my absolute best to, not succumb to my interest in playing the game. And the game tanked. It flopped horribly. And Call of Duty's gotten a lot better about microtransactions. So have a lot of other companies. Other games only have them as cosmetic items, which is the case in the Batman Arkham games. Imagine if, for instance, the upgrade wheel in Batman Arkham Knight, instead of being unlocked via in-game rewards, you paid for. Now, if this is the case, then I am equally concerned with you guys about them hiring this person. That's alarming. You're getting an advantage in the game. Even if it's not a competitive multiplayer game, it doesn't matter. If you can pay to be better in the game, in other words, if you can accomplish the same amount as somebody else who is a better player, but they don't have as much money as you do, so therefore you attain the same level in the game, that's just bullshit. I mean, you'll never convince me otherwise. Okay, so that would be alarming. But to be honest with you, Rocksteady is a very, what's the word that I want to use for this? They have a lot of integrity as a company. As much as I critique the Arkham Knight Season Pass and all of its issues, in the sense that they didn't tell us pretty much at all what was in it, and they overcharged us for it, and the product wasn't that good. I think that in many ways they actually really thought that we were going to like these 50-minute DLCs and like an overflow of skins. A lot of people did like those. I wanted real story DLC. In other words, they're not con artists. They're not like going to screw us over, People love Rocksteady. And I think Rocksteady really enjoys that they have this reputation of being this great studio of the people and listening to all of our feedback and that we wanted challenge maps in Arkham Knight and that kind of thing, right? So they've really done a lot to have a great reputation, and they wouldn't soil that by having like a pay-to-win, Superman game or Justice League. You know what I mean? I just don't think that that's the route they're going to go down. Are they going to have more microtransactions than they've ever had before? Absolutely, you best believe it. Because that's just the trend. Arkham Knight had more microtransactions than City, and this game will have more transactions than Knight. Just the way that it works. That's the way the video game industry is headed. They're going to charge $60 for the game. Basically, it is a way for wealthier gamers to subsidize the cost of the game so that poor people, or not poor people necessarily, poor gamers that have less means to pay for, let's say, an $80 game tag, $80 price tag. Instead of charging everybody $80, you charge most people $60, and a small minority of people will spend $200 on the game because they will pay via microtransactions. It's a subsidy, basically. Not in the economic sense. We're not talking about economics or whatever. But it's just a way to subsidize their income because they can't realistically raise their prices and make, I've kind of belabored on this long enough. Anyway, so am I really that concerned that Rocksteady, the developers of Batman Arkham, hired somebody that specializes in microtransactions? Not really. Their other games have had microtransactions. Rocksteady's games have. WB's other games that have implemented it quite well. Injustice 2, while I was quite concerned about microtransactions, it actually worked out very well. And it was not pay to win in my experience. And I'm not really that concerned about this game. Rocksteady makes single-player story games. So what if there's microtransactions? Would I prefer to have skins and other cool things that you earn as opposed to paying $1.99 for them? Absolutely. But, that's in the olden days. And it really is. Like, that's just not the way it works anymore. And unless we're all willing to pay more money up front for games, it's never going to happen. And me, I'm kind of fine paying $60 and just buying a few things that I want, and otherwise just paying my $60. Because otherwise, the other solution is we all pay $80, we all pay $90. Games are incredibly expensive to make, and I'm not alarmed at all. I do not think that Rocksteady is going to screw us over. But I could be wrong. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is Slickmoth. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.